Hello, my name is Commander Jessica Pipkin, and today I'm going to talk to you about medical team simulators. We'll be covering the history, the state of the art, how medical team simulators relate to modeling and simulation, how they are used today, why they are important, and where medical team simulators are headed in the future. Historically, full-scale simulation has been accepted as a learning method for gaining behavioral skills in team-centered domains. Industries with these team-centered domains include aviation, spatial engineering, nuclear power industries, and now medicine. We will cover both the in-person and virtual options that are available in medicine. For our in-person options, we have tabletop exercises, low-fidelity mannequins, high-fidelity mannequins, and standard patients with task trainer attachments. Tabletop exercises are where a team gets together to talk through a scenario and procedures. For example, a simulated interactive exercise can test an organization's procedures for emergency response. Low-fidelity mannequins can be used as a centerpiece on which to conduct a team scenario. This still entails dialogue between team members and feedback from a facilitator. As for high-fidelity mannequins, 3G or trauma mannequins are interactive and can be used as a medical team simulator for trauma orientation, mass transfusion protocol drills, code blue drills, just to name a few. The goal here is that the mannequin is interactive enough to point to the point where scenario cues from a facilitator are not needed and skills can be practiced directly on the mannequin. However, some mannequins don't quite do it all, and close proximity task trainers may still be needed. Standard patients with task trainer attachments or supplements use a real person, allowing the team to interact, while the task trainers attached or in close proximity allow for skill practice. Most of us remember taking a CPR course where we practiced on a lifeless, limbless torso of plastic and foam. The realism of this patient, and therefore the reality of the scene, was impaired by the fact that our patients are not in fact lifeless plastic torsos. By integrating state-of-the-art simulator mannequin technology and employing an elite team of certified simulation specialists, this barrier is broken and providers are trained with a higher caliber of realism. These simulator mannequins take the place of real patients, so when providers make a mistake, they can learn from it without risking the life of a father, daughter, neighbor, or friend. With lifelike anatomical structures, actual pulse points, reactive and adaptive responses to treatment, and so much more, we can control the scene 100% and truly focus on objectives and experiential learning. Medicine is quite possibly the last high-consequence field to embrace the regular practice of lifelike rehearsals regularly for infrequent high-consequence patient care events. High-fidelity simulation is changing that, making the rare clinical presentation a common training event, thereby preparing clinicians of all kinds to care for the most endangered patients. So as far as the top of the line for the physical sims, every search I did ended up with Laerdal. It was almost hard to find their competitor. But what they have going on with Laerdal is the Sim Junior. It's a realistic pediatric mannequin that has the capacity to customize different scenarios. It has interchangeable pupils, heart, lung, bowel sounds, and much more, and is suitable to teach teams how to respond to pediatric emergencies in different situations. The Sim New B is was developed in collaboration with the American Academy of Pediatrics in order to meet the neonatal emergency medicine and resuscitation courses, and it provides realistic resuscitation for newborns. Sim Baby Classic is an advanced infant patient simulator ideal for training in all aspects of infant care with realistic anatomy and clinical functionality. It's suitable for all types of training from routine care to critical emergencies. The SimMan Essential is a portable and advanced patient simulator for team training, has realistic anatomy and clinical functionality. SimMan provides simulation-based education to challenge and test students' clinical decision-making skills during realistic patient care scenarios. SimMan includes well-proven software and an interactive, technologically advanced mannequin, allowing learners to practice the emergency treatment of patients. And then SimMan 3G is an advanced patient simulator that can display neurological symptoms as well as psychological. It is simple to operate and features innovative technologies such as automatic drug recognition. And then the following slide will be a video from one of the colleges and a sample of how they're running their simulations for teens.
Doors call Cooping, baby's grunting.
Cooping, room 434 at bed A. Cooping, room 434 at bed A.
Cooping, room 434, bed A.
Baby.
434, bed A.
This is a high fidelity simulation that Veneer College has set up.
So we call
You can see they have the one-way mirror.
Baby's grunting and
The team comes in. There's a member attending to mom. I'm sure one of the facilitators on the other side is providing mom's voice.
So they're going to give some oxygen.
The neonatal team is able to
Heart rate's 80.
do procedures on the baby, including oxygen. They're going to suction here in a moment. They are able to hear breath sounds. There's a monitor where they can see their vital signs.
I hear you right now. I understand you're scared right now. You're not alone. We're doing this right now, okay?
Suctioning? Yeah, suction's on.
Okay. I'm here with you right now. We're here and we're doing everything we can, okay?
Okay, I'll open the mouth a bit. Yeah.
As far as where this video is from 2017, so as far as where we are with physical high fidelity mannequin, I think most of us are familiar with what's out there. But the closer they can interact with us or have the facilitator work from a non-viewable point to show the vital signs on the monitor and like they're doing here, provide a voiceover for emotional support and interaction.
68.
So your baby
The
has
closer
that's good.
to real life for that team practicing.
Heart rate's coming up. 84.
Anytime you're scared right now, we're here with you, okay? You're not alone.
Heart rate, entry.
I hear you.
Ultrasound 84. It's coming up. Heart rate 100.
So her heart rate is coming up right now. She's having baby better right now.
Make
Not
spontaneous
spoiled
efforts.
ending, but this one has a happy one. Baby ends up with mom.
You're giving yourself
It is very happy.
still.
Heart rate 91.
For our virtual options, we have computerized screen-based single player with virtual team. This would be close to or maybe a step up from a computer portion of BLS, ACLS, and PALS modules that you have to complete before attending the in-person portion of training. Computerized screen-based multiplayer team would be the medical version of a multiplayer gaming system. And then augmented reality is where you wear a headset and see the real world with a virtual data overlay. In 2018, the headsets were still touted as big with a small field of view. Then it was anticipated that this technology would get better in the next 5 years, which is coming up. The last three are screen immersion, virtual reality single player with virtual team, and virtual reality multiplayer. We're going to discuss these last three in the upcoming slides.
We started investigating the possibility of installing an immersion room about 2 years ago. We were looking forward and realising that simulation really does lend itself to being supported with mixed reality and immersive spaces, and we were supported by faculty 100% to invest in this technology, and we're very proud of what we've achieved and what's recently been delivered by Igloo.
I have been using the immersion room for teaching, and I have found it to be an excellent way of teaching. What I especially love is that we can change scenes quite rapidly, which we can't do ordinarily. So this has been able to condense a lot of the learning content because we can actually change the space quite rapidly. Students are loving it, we're loving it.
So the Igloo's been incredibly well received by students and staff alike. They're immediately excited because they haven't seen something like that before, and it automatically sets that frame for learning where they're curious and they're ready to learn.
I feel like the immersion room gives them a little bit more of a real life sense of what that environment would actually feel like. And again, having people who are in life form, walking around you, moving around you, talking around you, then it's that feeling of emotion of being in that moment at that time. And that's something that we've now been able to allow the students to experience prior to going on things like placements or graduating.
So for me, one of the advantages
The University of Adelaide's first use of its immersion room came with dealing with COVID-19. Igloo has a compatibility with Zoom, so they were able to create a virtual classroom environment, and the staff could show medical procedures on a mannequin, and then around them a 360-degree screen was split into multiple windows for presentations, live polls, and a montage of student faces. And as a result, everyone could get a real sense of presence and interaction. I mentioned this here, screen immersion, because Igloo is something that pops up when you search for virtual medical team simulators. They claim to be the future and a step up from virtual reality, but I don't know that I think they're quite there yet. The system looks like a 360-degree theater screen that you can see at parks like Disney. And while I see the benefit for education, for example, live streaming of procedures to an individual or distance learners or even an entire class to expedite a see one, do one, teach one philosophy of learning, they still fall short on the actual feeling of immersion and haptics. On their site, they have someone in the Igloo by themselves trying to do a virtual reality immersion combination, and they're using those handheld remote controls, and I'm not seeing how the 360-degree screen allows them to do like team practice scenarios. So I'll be curious to see what more they have for us in the future. OMS Interprofessional is the multi-participant VR simulation platform from Oxford Medical Simulation. OMS Interprofessional allows multiple learners to be in the same virtual reality scenario at one time, whether they are in the same room or different countries. The focus in OMS Interprofessional is on teamwork, communication, critical thinking, and clinical reasoning, providing clinical experiences where learners apply their knowledge as a team, just like in real life, to improve patient care. In the next 2 slides, I'm going to share with you samples of virtual environments, one from SimX and one from Oxford. You'll see the difference and how they're working to improve this technology.
So what you're seeing here is from a site called Simex, and this is what their virtual reality looks like. And the full body people are virtual patients, whereas the floating hands that you see in the scene in the upcoming scenes, those are the players' hands. But when it's in multiplayer, all you see is the other player's hands and head. I imagine that in the future, this is only going to get better with full avatars if other companies haven't already come up with that. You can see the different applications. There was pediatrics, here's military. As it goes on, there will be OBGYN and surgery. Additional advances that if not having tried this out myself, I don't know what the haptics, like the feel of it are. When I reach down to touch something, am I going to feel that I'm touching it? I wish this had sound, but it doesn't. In other pictures and descriptions of this virtual reality simulator, people have to hold the controllers in their hands. Places like Oxford simulation are trying to overcome the handheld controllers and have it be so that people can just use their hands and that the system will pick up on what they're trying to do.
So I was able to find a simulation sample from Oxford Medical Simulation. They have done a little more than just floating heads and floating hands. The faces, shoulders. Why teams and why team training? Emergency medical care, and particularly trauma care, is usually delivered by teams. These clinical teams must deal with situations that are highly dynamic, with large volumes of rapidly changing information and unclear or potentially conflicting goals. All the while, the team members are under a time pressure, and the consequences of making a wrong decision or undertaking the wrong action may lead to further injury or even death. How does this relate to modeling and simulation? Well, for the virtual reality, it's innovative. Artificial intelligence controlled virtual patients have incredible fidelity, and it's scalable. You can use it with or without faculty to free up time and resources, infinitely repeatable. Virtual reality is available 24/7 to allow practice when learners need it the most, and it's flexible. Available, you can use the VR on a computer screen or with a headset for complete accessibility and cost effective. You can transform training for a fraction of traditional costs. You don't need the space that you would normally need for an entire sim center with lots of mannequins. And it's evidence-based. It's backed by research with proven efficacy. Another company competing with Oxford and Simex is Arcadius. They have remote access as well, where users can join from any location and interact with virtual equipment and patients. This is particularly important for rural and remote locations, enabling distance users to connect with expert instructors from anywhere. There's multiple access modes. You can use the Oculus Rift or the Oculus Quest or a non-VR Windows PC, and then instructors can live stream simulations through Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams. Communication skills, users get the chance to practice with patients and other professionals during live simulations. For their capabilities, they have scene editing, 3D recording, multiplayer modes, pediatric simulation, EMS simulation, nursing simulation, human anatomy. The scenes for their human anatomy are kind of cool. It's like a whole organ up front and close working at you. And then ACLS and PALS. And then with each of these companies, they're slightly different. So in this one, you kind of see the clear head with the goggles on and the hands, and then above them in the multiplayer modes, you have like a little bubble with an actual picture of who the person is. You can practice airway skills, emergency room content, EKGs, respiratory. They have a slew of characters you can choose from and environments. When you go into their virtual world, there's like a big virtual menu to select what you want to work with. So where are we headed in the future with medical team simulators? Individual KSAs are going to turn into working as part of a team and getting those communication and team skills going. Team training courses are going to become commonplace. The preference for whole task trainers or multiple parts creating a whole is going to be a thing. Virtual reality is only going to get more advanced. The physical simulators still have a one up there because you can actually touch them and get your hands active in drills and muscle memory, whereas it doesn't look, even though Oxford's working on it, it doesn't look like any of the companies have quite overcome the whole handheld controller thing quite yet. They all are in multiplayer mode, not with full avatars, but at least with a head and shoulders avatar for Oxford, or some sort of clear hands and head image, and then Arcadius has the bubble of the person above the head. Virtual reality is really gonna be a game changer for places that don't have space for sim centers. It's gonna decrease costs and allow for wider spread and individual use at home. I I can see this being used for continuing education credits. But I can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you for listening to my talk on medical team simulators. If you have any questions, my email is right here.